So, before we start this video, I just want to say, please forgive me for not uploading consistently. I'm currently playing Crimson Desert, and that is taking up a bunch of time. And unfortunately, with Crimson Desert, it just takes so long to do everything between the side quests and the exploring and missions. It's hard for me to get out videos every day, especially on Crimson Desert, because I have to get all the clips from my stream, put it into a video, and it just takes time. Like my first Crimson Desert video, it's up there. The card should be up here. It's on my channel if you guys want to go see that. It took me a few days to make. So yeah, and I was up all night making it. So yeah, please excuse me for the lack of consistency recently. I'm still going to upload consistent. It's just I've been taking days in between because of how long and how much time Crimson Desert has been taking me. With that said, we can get into this video. So these videos upcoming are going to be placeholders while I'm getting Crimson Desert out. So this video will go up today. I'll have another video up tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get another Crimson Desert video up the next day. I will be streaming tonight. When you guys see this video, I will be live tonight in just a few hours streaming more Crimson Desert. So please go over there, and I hope you enjoy it. So, Peaky Blinders movie. We're going to get into it with all my reviews. What we're going to do here is the first half of the review is going to be like my unbiased opinion, how I really feel about the movie, in terms of unbiased and trying to be critical. And then the second half will be my opinion and how I felt and my issues and likes with the movie. So without further ado, let's get into it. So to get into the movie, first off, I think the movie is really solid. There's a bunch of hate going on online, which I don't really agree with. I think the movie isn't as good as the TV show. So if you're a big fan of the TV show, I think you'll enjoy the movie. It is a quality movie, but I don't think it's as good as the TV show. Peaky Blinders is my favorite TV show of all time. I love Game of Thrones and the whole Ass Wife, A Song of Ice and Fire series. That's also one of my favorite shows. But Peaky Blinders, just as a show, is absolutely my favorite. And I just don't think this movie lives up to the quality and the amazing writing that the series had. So if you've seen the show's great, and one of my favorite things about the Peaky Blinders show is that the quality is through every season. It just gets better with every season. It's not that long. It's 6 seasons with 6 episodes, and as the show goes on, there are some slow moments, but besides the first episode, I mean, the show is great, and these seasons are very well written and great quality. But the movie, in my opinion, I would give the show like a 9, and in my opinion, the movie is around like a 7. I've watched the movie about 3 times now, so I think I have an idea of the things I like and dislike about the movie. My first watch was different than my third watch, but all I can say is I think it's a good movie. If you're a fan of the show, go watch the movie and don't agree with what people say online and in comments. Now, if you agree with their opinion because you have the same opinion, that's fine, but there's a lot of hate going around this movie, and I just don't think it deserves the hate. I feel like people are over-hating it, and I feel like that's going on a lot of nowadays. Not just with this movie in particular, but with Crimson Desert that's just came out, Expedition 33 later last year. I just think a lot of the things that come out nowadays that have hype and that are big names are just getting unnecessary hate. So yeah, the movie's good. If you're a fan, go watch it. If you've never seen Peaky Blinders, no, don't go watch the movie. But if you are a fan of Peaky Blinders and you've watched the show, this movie is definitely a good movie. It might not, like I said, live up to your expectations of what the show once was, but it is still a solid quality movie. The movie, however, does have its issues. I'll get into my own issues later, but I think the pacing is not the best with this movie, and I also think that some of the choices with character storylines don't fit what the story once was. But like I said, I still think it's good, but those are just my few like critical issues with the movie. I will go more specific in a minute, so if you've seen the movie, you guys can watch this part. If you haven't, I recommend, unless you don't mind spoilers, I recommend, because there are big spoilers and big moments in this movie. So I would recommend going to watch the show for yourself and not listen to me talk about spoilers and stuff. So here we go. So the things that I've really enjoyed about this movie, getting into spoilers, the actors didn't lose a step. Tommy is great. I mean, Cillian Murphy acting as Tommy felt like he was back as Tommy. It didn't feel like it was all these years in between. Like, he still embodied Tommy Shelby, and I was very happy about that. Alongside, of course, Ada is in the movie. Ada's actress, I don't know her name, unfortunately, great. And shout out to Johnny Dogs. Johnny Dogs is classic Johnny Dogs. And like I said, the actors didn't really lose a step with their characters. Now, Duke Shelby, I was never really a fan of because he kind of just popped up. And although it does make sense, so if you don't know, the movie is about Thomas Shelby's son. Thomas Shelby's son is running the Peaky Blinders. And I think that it makes sense with how the story ended. However, I don't really enjoy the actor that much, and I didn't see much Tommy in Duke. Now, don't get me wrong, Tommy wasn't really around for Duke, and it's kind of his bastard son, but at the same time, like, there are moments where you can tell he's trying to be Tommy, and I don't mean like trying as in like mimicking him, but there's moments where he tries to, do Tommy like things, and the actor or the writing made him do it so you could see, oh, this is Tommy's son. But everyone did a great acting job of the movie. I loved everybody in the movie. It's just Duke Shelby in particular, and Barry Cogan. I forgot to say his last name. He's a great actor. I just didn't really enjoy him as Tommy Shelby's son, but he doesn't ruin the movie. Like, his acting isn't that big of a deal. I just didn't believe that this is Tommy Shelby's son. Another thing I liked is the movie is funny at times, and the show also, if you watched it, you know it can be funny. The writing is really good when it comes to jokes. They all feel realistic and in world, especially Alfie's character, who isn't in the movie, unfortunately, but the jokes were good. I think the writing in terms of dialogue is always good. The dialogue writing is fantastic, and it always is with this show, but there are writing choices I don't agree with, which we're going to get into the cons now. So like I said in the beginning, pacing is not consistent within this movie. After watching it 3 times, I feel like the very beginning is not fast. But the very beginning, like things are happening, it's building up. And then there's a point where it gets slow, and then out of nowhere, it just like speeds up again near when the lady comes in the house. And after that, once you see Duke Shelby and all that stuff, and he's going around and he's killing the dude for, I forgot the villain's name. But Tim Roth, I forgot the guy's name, but whoever Tim Roth plays in the movie, the German guy who's helping Duke get the money, it kind of slows down a bit. And then after that, it really starts to speed up again. And so the pacing, I don't think is bad. It's just very inconsistent. So now for the big spoilers, Arthur's death. Now, this is something I really wanted to talk about because I just finished watching this series again. So for this last view of the movie, I watched Peaky Blinders and I got to the last episode. And right after I finished the last episode, I started the movie. And I have to say, so in the movie, it starts out as Arthur Shelby killed himself. And then later on, you find out, oh, it was an accident. Tommy, I guess, shot him, or Arthur shot himself, but it was an accident. And then later, you find out the real story after someone dies in the movie, that Tommy killed Arthur in a booze-induced rage. I do not agree with this at all. At first, I was like, okay, I was mad at it, but I was like, all right, fine. And then after watching the season, the last episode, and coming back, I don't think Tommy would ever be able to kill Arthur. I don't think he has that in him. Would he fight him and wrestle him and yell at him and hit him? Of course. But kill his own brother? I don't care how drunk Tommy was or how mad he was. I don't care how much Arthur put Tommy through. Because let's be honest, Arthur was a loose cannon and was fucking up a lot, especially in the last season or two. He still did his job. I love Arthur, but let's not act like Arthur was, drug-free and just a normal person. He had his demons, and Tommy had to deal with it. But again, I don't think Tommy would have killed his brother. I don't think that is even in Tommy's character at all. So I say that to say that, yeah, I don't think that was well written. So I heard online that there were rumors about the actor for Arthur having issues in real life, so that's why he wasn't in the movie, because maybe they gave Arthur a whole plot line in the movie, but they couldn't get the actor for reasons I'm not going to say, and because I don't know if it's true or not. And so the Stephen Knight had to write him off. But even in writing him off, in my opinion, all you had to say was he either killed himself, because Arthur has tried to kill himself before. So it would have made more sense if Arthur finally did it this time after the end and blah, blah, blah. Or in my opinion, you could have said Tommy killed Arthur out of mercy. So it doesn't like redeem Tommy and make him look better, but it's kind of like, okay, Arthur was crazy, Arthur had issues, and Arthur wanted to die for a long time. So it's kind of like Tommy put him out of his misery, or Arthur asked for Tommy to kill him. Either way, I think that's more in Tommy's character than him straight up killing his brother because he was angry. That just isn't well written. So another character who dies in the movie, which shocked me and I almost cried, was Ada. Now we'll get into why I have big issues with this later on, but the main issue for me with Ada dying is it's not so much the fact that she died, it's more the fact that she got barely any screen time in this movie. She has like 2 scenes and then she gets shot in the head. And it's like, I just wish we would have saw more of Ada. If you've watched the show, we haven't seen Ada in years. So it's like, it would have been nice to see Ada do some things before she just gets blasted in the first 20 minutes of the movie. I will say I did enjoy Ada's death because it was shocking and it happened, so fast and realistic, and you just don't expect it. But I don't think Ada's character deserves to die, but it's a show character who deserves to die, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I just wish they would have given more screen time, and I really think they killed Ada to make you hate the villain more. So I know I said that I don't really mind her death, which I don't, but at the same time, it does make it clear to me that Ada dying was really, here's the villain kills Ada, now we want the villain dead because we love Ada, and now this gives Tommy motivation, and it gives the viewer motivation to like really hate the villain, when I don't think you have to kill Ada to do that, and that's what it feels like. It feels like they killed Ada in that spot just for that purpose. So we're gonna get more into Tommy and Ada, but first I want to talk about the villain since we're on topic. Tim Roth, I love the actor. He was funny at times, and then people are like, oh, he wasn't a great villain. Now, don't get me wrong, Peaky Blinders is also known for its villains. It's got some iconic villains and great mastermind, well-planned, well-thought villains as Mosley, Billy Kimber, not really, but, Luca Trangreta, and multiple other villains like the Priest throughout the series. So I don't think Tim Roth did a bad job, but I just feel like the villain was very underwhelming compared to the last villains in the series. But at the same time, it's more of Tommy's story, and it's not really like, we're supposed to hate this big bad. It's more the fact that like this is a guy that's doing bad things and he kills Ada. He's not really like the main point of this movie, where in the series the villains and Tommy's adversaries, even though it's Tommy and his family story, they still serve a purpose, and a big purpose for the story. This movie is more Tommy and dealing with his sister dying and his past, and also dealing with his son and passing on his crown, more than it is this villain that Tommy has to overcome. That's what the series is. Tommy not realizing his limits and always going past them, and always ascending while going against people that he has to figure out how to get around and overcoming the villain. So yeah, I think Tim Roth did a good job, but I am a little sad that the villain wasn't as big as it needed to be, but also it's not that big of a deal because this is not what this movie's about. So, Tommy's death. Now, I have 2 different opinions on this. Did Tommy, as much as I love him, deserve to die? Sure, right? Because it also set him free and he can't die. I totally understand that. But at the same time, I feel like, and I feel this way about Berserk, which is another book, but I feel like Tommy should have been kept alive to suffer. Don't get me wrong, Tommy has done bad things, but Tommy has also done good things. And I don't think that he's a good guy or a great character. Well, he's a great character, but I don't think he's this like pure-hearted great guy. But at the same time, I just don't know if Tommy just deserved to die and be free. So I wish that Tommy would have lived and would have had to go the rest of his days with maybe his son dying, but even if Duke doesn't die, just Ada being dead and all of his brothers and sisters and family now being dead, and he really has nobody. Maybe kill Johnny Dogs, I don't know, but even if the movie's kept the same but Tommy stays alive, I feel like that would have been better, because now Tommy has to live the rest of his days out suffering and without his family, which is what makes him him. And I feel like that's more of a beautiful story than Tommy in the end gets his ending. He's free, he's gone, he's with his family in the afterlife, and as he says, whatever place will take them. So like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Tommy dying. It's not a big complaint for me. I don't think it's not well written. I do like that Tommy gets a good ending because I love Tommy and we love Tommy, right? So I don't think it's that big of a deal that Tommy gets his ending that he always wanted. But at the same time, I think it would have been well written or more beautiful to the story if Tommy survives and kind of ends up where the movie started, just exiled and with no family. And it's like he's just back in this place and it's all for nothing. But that you guys don't have to agree on. Like I said, that's fine. I just think that Tommy getting his happy ending is a little whatever, but I still enjoy it because I love Tommy and I'm glad that he got his happy ending. But one more thing I want to say about the movie is the last issue I have about Ada's death, or it connects to Ada's death, is Tommy kind of just comes back. Like, Tommy just has sex with this woman and realizes like, oh, I can save my son and maybe I'll be able to find peace and let me end this war just because this woman came into his life and just started talking to him. Now, I've watched the movie 3 times. There is possibly something that I missed, or I'm missing a plot line or a line that kind of unlocks Tommy to get him to come back to this life. But it kind of just felt like he slept with the lady and she says, hey, I'll give you peace. And you couldn't save Arthur, you couldn't save your sister, you couldn't save Ruby, but you can save your son. So maybe Tommy was like, you know what, you're right. I can save my son. I haven't been able to do it before. And who knows, maybe it'll work out this time, or maybe I'll actually find peace. So it does make a little bit of sense that that's why Tommy came back, but it's kind of like they have sex and then the next scene, he's back in action. So what I think should have happened there is Ada should have died before Tommy agreed to come back. And Ada's death should have been the catalyst for Tommy to come back. I feel like that fits a little bit more if Tommy, like I said, he knows Ada's dead, he's all upset about it, and he's like, I will do this last good thing for my sister, and he decides to come back then once he finds out that Ada dies, instead of, you know, he's already back in and he's on his way, and then Ada passes. Another thing is, if Tommy were to die, I think one of the OGs should have survived. And it's not just the fact that, oh, like, I want one of them to live. I just think Ada didn't deserve to die. And Ada, maybe, if Tommy was always going to die in the end, then maybe Ada should have been the one to outlive the Shelby family, because she always said, I'm not a Shelby, I'm a Thorn. And if you've seen the show, you know that she steps up and becomes a big part of the family. She's one of my favorite characters. But it would have been more poetic, in my opinion, if she's the last one to survive. Yeah. That's pretty much all my thoughts, and like I said, if you listen to me, that those are a decent amount of cons I have with the movie, but like I said, I just don't think the movie lives up to what the show was. But at the same time, I don't think it's a bad movie. It's a good movie. It has its problems, and as a diehard fan who absolutely loves the series, there are some things that I question and don't agree with or think could have been written differently, but it's a good watch. I almost cried like twice. I laughed. I was smiling at certain parts, so I do enjoy the movie. It's just some of the questionable writing. Again, it's not dialogue. Dialogue's great, like it always is, but there's just certain character choices, like around Ada's death and Tommy coming back, and I've just stated them all that I just don't agree with. In my personal opinion, I'd give the movie around what I gave it critically, around like a 7. I don't think it gets up there to an 8, but I don't think it's lower than a 5. If you want to give it a 6, I understand, but I feel like it's a little disrespectful because the movie still is quality. So I think 7 is kind of like that perfect medium, because it's not great, but it's not bad, and it's not average. It's just a good movie with some mistakes. And lastly, I just want to say shout out to Cillian Murphy. I know he'll never see this, but I just want to make sure it's stated. Cillian Murphy did one of his best acting ever in this role as Thomas Shelby. This was, I think he says it himself, it was a role of a lifetime. He's been in Inception, Batman, but Tommy Shelby is one of the characters he will forever be known for, and he did such a great job. This is the first show that I've ever seen where when I watch the acting and I watch Tommy, I know what he's thinking, and you can tell that just by his facial expressions and his size and his breathing, what's going on with the character, and Cillian Murphy did such a good job at portraying it. You know, of course, shout out Tom Hardy and all the people that acted in this show. It's great, but it is definitely sad to see Cillian Murphy go, and he will forever ever be Thomas Shelby and one of the best show characters or fictional characters ever. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Sorry it was a long one. Like I said, these are kind of placeholders while Crimson Desert is coming out, and I just hope and pray that I can get more consistent with these videos while I'm doing Crimson Desert. So please expect more like videos like this in the next video where it's kind of placeholders while Crimson Desert is coming out, and please forgive me if I miss a day or two. It's probably because I'm editing a video for Crimson Desert. So yeah, please come over to my Twitch. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.